Hello and welcome. My name's Angela Davis and I am the 4am Quilter. And if you've never been to my channel, welcome. You're going to have a great time today because we are doing boho style bags. Now, some people call them boho bags. I sort of consider them something like a crazy quilt bag. Anything goes. So if you're new to my channel, this is a sample of what we're going to be doing today, but we're going to do something completely different than this. We're going to be using some different fabrics and some different types of beading and see what we can find in my little stash here that I found. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. This is a great video to start out with if you've never been to my channel before. If you've been to my channel before, thank you so much for tuning in again, and we are going to have some fun today with our boho bag. I sort of like to call it a crazy quilt bag because you get to decorate it and embellish it and do a lot of fun things with it. So this is a sample of the first bag I made as to show you. Okay, boho means bohemian. Sort of artsy, and I sort of consider it to be sort of like a crazy quilt type of thing because you get to use different types of fabrics and it's in that sort of genre. So for example, in this one, the maroon was done with velvet napkins that I purchased from the thrift store. I had some denim scraps in my stash. And this fabric on the ends is like an upholstery fabric, a lightweight upholstery. This deep, dark pumpkin orangey color is actually an upcycled tablecloth that I found at the thrift store. And I also did the strap with that fabric and the upholstery fabric. So, with that being said, and I embellished it with some vintage lace, part of a doily, some beading. I even made my own, if you can see it here, I'll do a close-up of it. I even made my own denim fringe, and I was really excited about that. I made my own tassels. I made those while watching TV the other evening. And then on the tassels, I added a little bit of buttons here. And on this one, I added a little bit of beading. So, let's get started. In the video, you're going to see me putting this one together. And so this video is about some of my decisions that I made. So I'm going to give you a couple tips along the way about my decision-making process and what tips helped me make the decisions that I made while making this one. And the first tip I want to give you is, you might say to yourself, well, I want a handbag that's 15 inches square by 15 inches, you know, in height. All right. But looking at a tape measure, you don't really get a good feel for what that handbag is going to feel like on your shoulder or on your arm. So my first tip is to take a handbag out of your wardrobe that you already like the size and take the measurement of the width and the height, and then use that as your base measurement to make your handbag. That's my first tip. The second tip is, don't be afraid as you're making it to change your decisions. Now, I originally wanted a flap on this bag, but watch and see what happens. This is my scrap denim. And first I'm going to square this up a little bit. A little curve here. Just gonna follow that curve. There. There. There's my curve. Okay. Now, it's a little big, but it would come down to about here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch along this side, across the top, and then back down, okay? This side's going to get caught in the seam allowance, and this I can cover with another design element. Okay, so I have this. I have the flap. It's going to come down. I don't like the flap. I like this. I don't want to cover this up. So after I applied the lace to the flap and then I auditioned it on top of the bag, I decided against using the flap because I didn't want this part to be completely covered up. Now granted, it's a little bit covered up over here with the applique flower, but the flap would have covered it up completely. Like that. Don't be afraid to, once you get into making the bag, and to change your idea along the way. I have this really pretty butterfly. Look at that. Isn't it adorable? What if I sort of off-center it a little bit? Think that would look nice? It takes up a lot of space. When you're working on impromptu projects, sometimes you get into a situation where you think, well, I want to go in this direction, and then you start it and you realize, you know what, that's not what I thought it was going to look like. Change it, you know, feel free to change it. It's okay. It's your project. So with that being said, let's see what I have to add some more embellishment. Here's some pink. I wonder what I could do with this. I have an idea. Let's open up these wooden beads, see what we can do with these. Oh boy. I need a container for these. Here we go. There we go. What if I strung, let's see if I can get these strung without a needle. I don't think so. Whoops! I think I need a needle. This will work. See this? This is a tapestry needle. Tapestry needles have wider eyes and a blunt point. So this will be perfect to thread this ribbon through, okay? See? And so we can go, and these are big enough. Look at that. Oh my gosh, I love it. Let's see what we can do. Do a dark. See what other beads we can do. I wonder if this, I don't know. Oh, it worked. Look at that. Oh, I love it. So I used a tapestry needle, and a tapestry needle has a more blunt end but a wider eye, so it fits the ribbon. But the problem is you got to have beading where the holes are big enough. But these work. These work. So what can I do? Can I just stitch them and let them hang down from the seam? I think that would work. Okay, so I'm going to trim back the excess. Now the way I stitched it, I stitched it a 1/4 inch from the top, and that's going to get caught in the seam allowance again, so you won't see these stitches, okay? And then once I get everything together, I can burn the ends here to make sure that, you know, this doesn't ravel. Oh my gosh, I love it. Now, if I put this here, I need to think about something. I'm going to have an inch across the top that's going to get folded in the seam allowance. And then I'm going to have a loop that comes down where the button's going to go. So if I put that there, the button's going to cover it, and I don't want that. And I don't want to cover this up. So I wonder if I could do something sort of off to the side. I could do that. When I get to the edge, I'm just going to do a straight stitch all the way down until I get to this yellow stitching. Okay. Needle down, I'm turning it, and I'm just going right along that edge. Okay. Okay. I like the little flower. Because sometimes you may start to do an applique piece, or you may start to add beading, or you may start to add lace and say, you know what, that's not quite what I thought it was going to look like. Don't be afraid to take it out, change it, or cover it up with another element if you're not sure you like it that way. So that's my second tip. My third tip is when I put on the strap, I stitch the strap after I sewed the lining in. Now, I should have stitched the strap so that it lays in between the lining and the main portion of the bag, but I didn't do that because I forgot. So with that being said, I just stitched it as is, and you can see the raw edge right there, but I think once it's around my shoulder, nobody's going to notice if that raw edge is on the inside of the bag exposed, or if it's in between the stitching between the outside bag and the lining. Doesn't mean you still can't leave it that way. I mean, honestly, it's your bag. I won't tell if you won't tell. Make accommodations and make adjustments. And the other tip I wanted to give you is don't forget about the strap. Embellish the strap. Use your lace. Add some buttons. Add some beading. It's all about the process. It truly is almost like crazy quilting. It really is just a fun, they're just fun bags to make. And the last tip I want to give you is, how did I make that denim fringe? I'm going to show you right now. I took a square piece of denim, and then what I did was, the first cut I left a little bit more of a gap because I knew I'd be sewing. And then what I did was I started just making little cuts. And then once I made all my cuts across, I used a smaller scissors and I cut little tiny cuts into the outside so that it would start to fray a little bit. And I did that on all of those. And it was a little time consuming, but it was worth it. I did little tiny cuts on each side of those little strips. Let me do another one. Little tiny cuts. And this helps with that fraying. And then to get the fringe to curl up like that, I went like this. You have to do it a couple times. And it's gonna fray on you as you do it, and that's a good thing, you know? I just kept curling it. There, that one's better. Might have to change scissors, and you just keep curling it, and as you do that, that's when the fraying starts. Okay, but you have to make those little snips in there so that it starts to fray a little bit. Okay, and then what I did was, when I attached it, I sewed it across this way and then down this way, and then I made sure that I caught this in the seam allowance here, and then right here when I attached the lace, I just stitched right on top of it, and then it just hangs down, and then over here I added a couple buttons. So that was a lot of fun, and you can see where it's really fraying up now. I had a lot of fun. So if you just keep at it, this denim will really start to fray on you, and that's what you want. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and the tips and tricks I've given you on how to make your own boho bag. And if you enjoyed this, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. My name's Angela Davis. I'm the Forum Quilter. I appreciate you all so much. Please be patient with me. My website is very small. I designed it to be somewhere to go to purchase my patterns. So it's basically a store, not a full website. And I don't have a lot of patterns, but Rome wasn't built in a day. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe. There's going to be more to come. And I appreciate you all so much. So much from the bottom of my heart. I wouldn't have been able to do this past year without you. Thank you again. And remember, why sleep when you can sew? Here's a little hug from Angela. Enjoy your boho bag. And I don't think anybody can notice that I didn't tuck the ends of my strap inside the seam. I think it'll be just fine. My little secret, our little secret. Remember, just have fun.